Okay, so none of us are surprised, and even Cyril wasn't surprised. We're in a recession. We probably should have been in a recession long ago, but so recession is technically 2 quarters of negative GDP growth. According to Stats SA, they revised the figure for the third quarter, so we're now said to be down 0.8% in Q3, and we're down 1.4% in Q4. Well, mostly governments and economists, they blame the reason on the decline for load shedding. I prefer to call it rolling blackouts. It's certainly a big part of the issue. But businesses have been retrenching in South Africa. Times are bad. People are refusing to invest in the country because of politics, because of self-enrichment, corruption, because of crazy policies. And yeah, they're all crazy. I mean, the policies that we don't find anywhere else in the world. I'm not just talking about land without expropriation or expropriation without compensation. Fortunately, that's not a policy yet. But soon it will be, and then really the country is going to be screwed. But I'm talking about other things. Yes, broad-based black economic empowerment, because it's just one of the many stupid government policies that isn't working. It's scaring off foreign businesses and investors, and it's frustrating hundreds and thousands of local businesses and professionals. Many of them have left the country already. So yeah, Q1 we were down 3.2%, and in Q2 we were saved only because of the issue of strong commodity prices. So platinum group metals particularly, that pushed mining sector up 14.4% that quarter. So really any benefit that we got from mining was something that's completely out of government's hands, and if we're 100% honest, it might not have happened, in which case South Africa would have spent the whole of 2019 in a recession. So the ANC government can't pat themselves on the back for anything but for destroying our economy, and they could have made it a lot worse. We're going to see a downgrade from Moody's, and we're going to get a proper economic hiding. The rand's going to take a knock. I don't want to be negative this morning, but these are the facts. How did industries perform in the past quarter? Well, the biggest performance came from finance. That means from lending money. And well, that's great, but that's not really where you want to be. So the typical behavior when GDP growth is down is that individuals and business still need to meet expenses, so they go out and borrow. There were decline in other industries, and things like freight and transport, which really tell you what the economy is doing, was down. So if you strip out growth in finance, which is not really a net positive for the economy, then individuals and businesses in South Africa are really up a creek without an oar. The South African economy grew by only 0.2% in 2019, and really without mining's help would have been in recession for the whole year. The population growth is like 1.5%, so the economy actually didn't grow. So let's not get excited about 0.2%. And let's put that in the context of an official unemployment rate of 29.1%. Of course, the government doesn't want to go over 30% as an official rate. They're doing everything they can to dance around that. But the real figure is probably closer to 40% of people that cannot find meaningful work. The theory is that unemployment increases during business cycle recessions. So we can be sure that unemployment is continuing to increase. If government doesn't want to go over 30%, they're just fudging the figures. In the last 3 months, many people have lost their jobs. Many people will lose it in the next month. And some industries are about to close. We think of the banking industry, communications like telecom and so on. They're going to lose lots of jobs. Many public sector jobs are not safe as well. SOEs, SAA, Eskom, etc. Doesn't matter that Consata and the SACP, they don't want to sit down and negotiate wages. It's just not on the cards. The fact is people are going to lose their jobs. We understand how unions feel that they have a role to play in trying to control wages, but really they should be worrying about unemployment. If you don't have members in your unions, and the country goes backwards. So not only is this country stifled by policies that clearly don't work, but unions are stifling them as well. They've got their hands around the neck of businesses. Is it a wonder that some small businesses still manage to inhale and exhale on a daily basis? I think so. I'm really surprised that we're still going along. Make no mistake, voluntary sequestrations of small businesses is something that will go up, and the biggest creditor is probably going to be SARS. Tito Ngubeni knows this. That's why he didn't raise VAT, and he didn't raise corporate taxes for small businesses. So how's inflation affecting the average South African? Well, Stats SA recently compared the prices of about 121 popular retail items from January 2017 to January 2020. And some prices have increased significantly, like meat, rum prices up 15%. Avocado pears, okay, we know avos are having a problem with demand at the moment, but in June 2018 you could buy an avo for around R6.70, and now if you're fortunate to find one, you're going to pay about R30, although the stats say R18 odd when you do find it. So inflation, that's a problem. It's 4.5%. It's in the middle of the targeted range of between 3 and 6%. And technically, when you're in a recession, inflation should decrease. But let's say it decreases to 4% going forward. There's nothing to say that it's still going to go lower, below the 3% band. But how should we be positioning ourselves? How should the Reserve Bank specifically consider things like the repo rate? So right now the repo rate is at about 6.25%. Down 25 basis points from where it was a little while earlier, but it's still about 50% higher than inflation of 4.5%, and inflation will pull back lower. So as part of the monetary policy, if the Reserve Bank governors thinks that inflation is a concern, then they will increase the repo rate. If they think that inflation is going to come down, then the proper monetary policy measure would be to drop the interest rate. And so we're expecting a drop. We've already seen the first 25 basis points, but there's room for far bolder moves. I think it is imperative that the Reserve Bank Governor, Lesetja Kganyago, and his committee use MPC policy, or the monetary policy, to give the economy the shot in the arm that it really needs. Unfortunately, though, I can't see him giving more than 50 basis points. Even though some are saying, especially from Twitter feeds, I say 1%. And there's no reason that they should be concerned about a shock in the SA bond market or cover rates, which shouldn't really be a concern of the Reserve Bank, just like the stock market shouldn't be a concern of the Fed. But unfortunately, it is. At any rate, I see 50 basis point drop when they meet on the 17th to the 19th of March. I don't think you'll see as much as 1% as has been called for. If you see 75 basis points, that'll be good, but 25 basis points will be too little, and I certainly can't see them doing nothing. So leave a comment below to tell whether or not you think that you'll see interest rates drop, and by what amount, when the MPC meet in 2 weeks' time. And this is Craig Martin. Please subscribe and share this with your friends.